false Messiah, Dajjal.
The Messenger of Allah, Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, informed us of the release of Dajjal into the world during his lifetime. During his lifetime. He went on to say that when Dajjal is released into the world, he would live on earth for 40 days. One day like a year, one day like a month, one day like a week, and the rest of his days like your days. I got an artist in Malaysia to design this cover of the book. And you'll see that there are 3 circles. Over here, a day like a year. Over here, a day like a month. And over here, a day like a week. The analysis conducted in this book is such that it argues that when Dajjal was in a day which is like a year, Britain was his headquarters. And when Dajjal moved to a day which is like a month, the United States of America became his headquarters. And finally, when Dajjal is going to be in a day which is like a week, he comes back home to the Holy Land. He comes back home to the Holy Land. Dajjal has already completed his first phase, a day like a year, when Britain was the ruling state in the world and the sterling pound was the international currency. And then Dajjal moved to a day which is like a month, and the United States replaced Britain as the ruling state in the world. And the US dollar became the international currency. And now the United States is about to relinquish power, and Israel is about to replace the United States as the ruling state in the world. And what will be the new money? That was sterling pound. This was US dollar. What will this be? Answer: the US dollar is going to be attacked and it will collapse and bring down all the paper money of the world with it. You won't see paper money after that. Well, then what's going to be money? What's the new money that Israel will use to enslave mankind? The way the United States used the US dollar. Answer: Israel is going to use invisible money. You can't see it. Intangible money, you can't touch it. It'll be electronic money. And the strange thing, the dangerous thing about electronic money is it is controlled by the banking system around the world, and the Jews control the banking system. That's not an uncharitable statement. That's not an invalid statement. That's the truth. That the Jews control the banking system around the world. And if we cannot speak the truth, what else is there to talk about? The new money is going to be invisible money. You can't see it. It's going to be intangible money. You can't touch it. It's no longer possible for you to conceal how much money you have. Your enemy will know exactly how much money you have, even if you have it hidden underneath a pillow. Your enemy will not only know how much money you have, your enemy will know how you are spending your money. And the minute the enemy gets the evidence that this is a man who is spending of his wealth in the way of Islam, they'll come after you. They'll come after you to brand you a terrorist and to rip you off of whatever wealth you have. And so Dajjal, in a day which is like a week, now moves from the United States to Israel, and Israel becomes his headquarters. We said that Israel is about to wage a big war. They prepared for this when the Israeli Mossad and the CIA attacked America on September 11th and put the blame on us Muslims. They know that's false. They know that they're speaking a monstrous lie. But yet they do it. The Prophet ﷺ warned us that amongst the times of the last day, he said, would be that people would speak great lies. So beware, he said. Israel wages a big war. It takes control of the world. When Israel takes control of the world, globalization brings the whole world together, and Israel is able to control mankind. And then Dajjal is going to be born into the world as a human being, and eventually become the ruler of the world from Jerusalem, the way Mr. Bush is ruling the world from Washington today, and Mr. Churchill used to rule the world from London yesterday. When Israel becomes the ruling state in the world, we said, at that time, Dajjal would have finished his mission, and he would now declare, I am the Messiah. Now let's come to the first hadith. There are very few I'm going to quote, but they're very important. The Prophet said, sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, the hadith is in Sahih Muslim, and it is perhaps the most important of the hadith I'm going to quote tonight, this one. He said, when Dajjal is released, he will live on earth for 40 days. One day like a year. One day like a month. One day like a week. And the rest of his days like your days. When his day is like our day, he will be in our dimension of time. But prior to that, he would not be in our dimension of time, because his day would not be like our day. When he is in our dimension of time, at that time it will be possible for us to see him. At that time he will appear as a human being. A human being, not a system, not a civilization, a human being. And he would be a Jew. And he would be a young man, powerfully built, with curly hair. At that time, when he appears in the world, in our dimension of time, the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, he will come from the east. He pointed his finger 20 times to the east. Dajjal will come from the east. But what about prior to that, when he will not be in our dimension of time? Where will he be, for example, when his day is like a year? Where will he be? Do we have any answer to that? He's going to be on earth, but we won't be able to see him. The angels, are they here in this room? Yes. How many? Each one of you have 2 angels on your forehead, on your shoulders. So there are many angels right here in this room. They are on earth. Are they in our dimension of time? No. No. So they don't perform salat according to our timetable. Fajr for them is not Fajr for us. Hmm? If we were to go into that day in which they live, and we have to perform salat, can we perform salat according to this timetable? No, we don't have to calculate to do it. Hmm? Can an angel come into our world? Can an angel come into our dimension of time so we can see the angel? Huh? Huh? Yes, which one? Yes, Jibreel alayhi salam came as a human being, right in the masjid. Are there jinn in this masjid now? Oh yes, they are. They are on earth. Can we see them? Are they in our dimension of time? No, they're not. But can they enter into our dimension of time? Yes. Mr. Shaitan himself, Iblis, he came as a human being, as an old man, remember, with a walking stick. So Dajjal will enter into our dimension of time one day. We see him. But prior to that, in a day which is like a year, where will he be? It is from that location that he will commence his attack. He will begin his effort. Number one, to liberate the Holy Land. Number two, to bring the Jews back to the Holy Land. Number three, to restore the state of Israel. Number four, you know what's number four. From that location, he will begin the effort. Where will it be? Fortunately for us, we have the answer. And it is also in Sahih Muslim. It is known as the hadith of Tamim ad-Dari. Listen to it carefully now. Tamim ad-Dari was a Christian who took the Shahada, became a Muslim in Medina. He came to the Prophet ﷺ and narrated an experience which he had. The Prophet ﷺ, after the Salat in the masjid, asked the people, sit down, sit down. I have something to tell you. Tamim ad-Dari has come to me and told me something about Dajjal, which confirms what I have been saying to you. So we know that what is contained in this story is true. What did Tamim ad-Dari experience? He said that he and some 40 of his companions went on board a ship. So you need water, eh? So they have to go in some place where you can travel with a ship, a sea or an ocean. And when they went on board the ship, a storm came. And the storm blew the ship for 40 days for a whole month, sorry, not 40 days. The storm blew the ship for a whole month before they reached land. Now, if you are on the western side of Arabia, which is Hijaz, and you get on board a ship, there are only two seas on which you can travel. One is the Mediterranean Sea, and the other is the Red Sea. Only these two. But it seems very much unlikely, in fact impossible, for a ship to be in the Red Sea and for a storm to be blowing and that ship did not touch land for a whole month, because the Red Sea is very narrow. And so I have chosen to eliminate the Red Sea, and I have chosen to remain with only the Mediterranean Sea. After they reached land, then they got off the ship onto a boat and they went and it was an island. And on the island they saw a strange beast. It was very hairy, so much hair, that you could hardly distinguish the head from the tail. So this beast is concealing its identity. And the beast spoke and said that I am, what? Huh? I am? Are you guessing now? I am Jassas. Jassas means a spy. A spy. So this is number one, an island about 1 month's journey from the western side of Arabia. Number two, this is an island which conceals its true identity. Number three, this is an island of those who have PhDs in spying, in espionage, in intelligence work. Jassas then said to them, there is someone waiting to see you over there at the monastery, Christian monastery. So this is a Christian island. When they went to the monastery, they found this young man, powerfully built, curly hair, but he was in chains. His hand chained to his neck, his legs chained. And this man started to question them, a number of questions. The Nabi al-Ummi, has he arrived in Medina? Nabi al-Ummi means, it doesn't mean the Nabi who cannot read and write. No. It means the Nabi who is not a Jew. The Nabi who is Gentile. Has he arrived in Medina? Yes, he has. Are the people accepting him? Some are accepting, some are not. This man then says, it will be to their benefit if they will follow him. A very important statement. Then he asked, the date plantations of a particular area, is the crop still coming out in abundance? They said yes. He said, I don't think it'll last for long. And then he asked, Buhayratu Tabariya, that's the Arabic name. The English name is the Sea of Galilee. The Jews call it Lake Kinneret. It is the largest sea in the Holy Land. It is from the Sea of Galilee that whole of the Holy Land gets water, the Sea of Galilee. He said, is there any water in the Sea of Galilee? They said, yes, plenty water. He said, I don't think it's going to last for long. And then he said, I am Dajjal. I am Dajjal. And when I am released, I'm going to enter every single town and city. But notice, he didn't say kampung. He said, when I am released, I'm going to enter every town and city, except Mecca and Medina, because the angels will bar me. Which means at the time when Dajjal's day will be like our day, and he appears in the world as a human being, at that time he cannot enter Mecca and Medina, the angels will guard him. Now then, we now know from this hadith that when Dajjal is released and commences his mission, he will commence his mission from this island.